But what are you saying about some of the other big stories on the home front in particular? Jeffrey joins me now for a review of your thoughts. Hello again, Jeffrey.
Yeah, absolutely, Bukola. So just to piggyback on some of the things we've been following up on the news that has to do with the governors saying that the bill for the VAT element, or the entire bill anyway, should be recalled. I don't know whether it's the entire bill they are calling for, but I think they should not throw away the baby and the bathwater at the end of the day, because there are so many great things in that bill. So if that is a problem that has to do with the distribution of VAT to places where the companies are headquarters, where they pay VAT, so I think that can be worked upon in terms of percentage. The experts are explaining to us that it used to be 20%, just like 13% derivation. It was increased to 60%. And the northern governors feel they are skewed against them. But it's not, if you look at it critically, it's for every unproductive state. Perhaps the framers of the law want state to be viable so that they can earn more. But that's a big picture. Whether it was put together properly is a different kettle of fish entirely. So we have always said some of these governors, with the greatest sense of respect, are not innovative. Are just being spoon-fed, waiting for allocation every other month. The numbers show from the budget analysis that 32 states depend on at least 55% on FAC. There's also the issue of resource control that is within that argument as well, which is political and all of that. About 13 states or 14 states depend on FAC for about 80% of their what we call operational expenses at the end of the day. So, and we're seeing states budgeting monies for their offices, governors budgeting monies for their offices that is even
more than
higher.
For critical sectors.
It's even higher than the IGR they raised the previous year. I think Imo was mentioned. A couple of other states were also mentioned in that particular analysis.
And you know, Jeffrey, another thing that is worrying from that report by budget is that, you know, about 2 trillion naira cumulatively was allocated to the health sector in that last financial year, and about half, you know, was not expended. So what happened to the 58% that was not, you know, spent?
But well, there are two ways.
Very huge issues of accountability.
Yeah, it's either they use the money for something else, or allegedly embezzled it, or the money is not coming for them to use. There could be anything. But at the end of the day, what we're saying is that governors should think outside the box. Governors should think outside the box. Every day we call on the president, the National Assembly. The states need to wake up and do something for themselves. Stop building airports or unnecessary projects. Don't make any difference in the lives of people. Do something productive so that the unemployment number can drop in your state and you can earn money. That's what it is. Anyway, let's find out what the people are saying. And
we start with the FCT.
Yes, FCT.
Where the minister is saying unprofiled vehicles will not be allowed in Abuja from 2025. And David Pin is the first writer this morning. David says, if this is properly implemented and enforced, it will go a long way to check all these one-chance vehicles people fall victim to. A lot of people have been to hell and back at the hands of these people. I've
almost fallen victim of one chance those days. The public transport.
Oh, thank God you're here, Jeffrey.
Yeah,
it's not a pleasant
survived,
experience at all.
Anyway, Job Steve, I wish I can have that on the screen. Yes, this is the best solution to kidnapping, robbery, and other vices in the FCT. I hope they will be serious with the implementation. Yes, I hope they will be serious, because remember the same FCT, you remember the CCTV project that never came to fruition. I don't know that the FCT has the technology to be able to cap, because this will work better with technology rather than police harassing people or any law enforcement harassing anybody. Technology will do a better work when it comes to, it's a great idea. It's a great idea. But technology will do a better work than human interferences. Bukola.
Very correct, Jeffrey. And they must also balance that with capacity building to go after, I can't say it enough, articulated vehicles. They are just as much a danger to the lives of people on our roads as much as, you know, on undocumented vehicles. So capacity must be built, especially with technology, you know, to find these 90% of the time erring industry and vehicle drivers, you know, for their infractions and for killing and maiming people without recourse to the consequences. There has been very poor consequence management in that area, and people's lives have been lost needlessly over the decades. All right, so Wale Dairo is the next user this morning, and Dairo says, implementing security clearance for public transport vehicles enhances safety deters criminal activity and builds passenger confidence. It allows authorities to monitor and verify the identity and background of operators. This is great news.
All right, Stephen Emmanuel, you say, why not do that across the whole country? Since it's not a bad idea, it will definitely improve security and cut down on kidnappings and robbery. That's why we say technology. We'll have loads of cars and loads of citizens. But let's move on to other things, Bukola. Where the federal government says about 25 million Nigerians have received 25,000 naira conditional cash transfer. I'm not sure what time to what time. I don't have the detail, but this is from the federal government. I know that when the federal government says things like this, the natural reaction of Nigerians is, please, where are these people? Where are they? When Edu was a minister of humanitarian...
Edu, you mean?
Dr. Edu.
Dr. Betta Edu.
Dr. Betta Edu was minister of humanitarian affairs. I did ask her then when I interviewed her about some of these numbers, but it looks like publishing names is also a question of law, just to protect the dignity of the individual. So it's a very, neither here nor there, or a very fine line to go across. On one hand, Nigerians want these names published. I don't know whether it's published, maybe all of them or some of them. Others are saying, why publish names? These people are...
No, but Jeffrey, if indeed Nigerians have been collecting 25,000 naira, initially the amount was 75,000 naira, by the way, so the figure has changed again. Wouldn't it be a huge talking point across social media devices of people, abuzz with the conversation about how they have received 25,000 naira? Well,
yeah, it's supposed to be for the vulnerable and the vulnerable. So if you know someone who has collected 25,000 naira in your village, because villages, that's where we should be giving these people money. Villages, slums, places, people. There are people that really need help. They don't need motivation, they need help. Well, these are your reactions. Zoe Adiola says 25 million Nigerians can't receive 25k each without social media scattering. 25 million people is not a small number. So
you're reading my mind.
It seems like Bukola, your friend wrote that one.
Well, I don't know them, but they're reading my mind. Olano C says, neither myself nor any of my immediate and extended family, including friends, received a kobo. So I guess this is somebody that needs that 25,000 naira. So where did the president get 25 million naira? Nigerians who received this grant, the 25 million Nigerians who received this grant, I believe they meant to say, ordinary Nigerians should start taking this government to court to demand for their share.
I think the best people to tell us who is receiving this money are the local government chairmen. Yeah, I think they are the best set of people to explain to us. I'm sure the government carries them along.
The data can also be published, because one of the criteria for the receipt of this money was NIN to show and bank details to show the category of Nigerians that are indeed in need of this money, whose income was below a certain amount
threshold.
Yeah, a certain threshold.
Okay,
so that data can be published as well to back up what the federal government is saying about 25 million Nigerians receiving 25,000 naira.
So what we're saying in essence is that the trust quotient is so low, whether the government paid it or they didn't pay it, Nigerians believe is not true. That's what it's saying. But the government has spoken to. AA says, so what? 25,000 naira cannot buy one mudu. Is it mudu of rice? I've never heard that before.
I think they mean one measure.
Okay, I guess
the measure comes with the
maybe that's the name they call it within that locality.
Yes, with the brand of a popular manufacturer that I don't want to mention.
Okay,
because of marketing purposes.
Reduce pump price, stabilize naira, and provide us with adequate security for farmers to go back to their farms.
And Ogezimo says, in my circle, only one person received this money.
Oh, and we have on evidence. Fantastic. Good.
Well, finally. And he confirmed that he's the only one in his circle, too, to have received such a transfer. Nigerians should resist such a policy, as the system is too corrupt for it to work. No way even half that number of people got this money.
All right, let's move on quickly to the next one, where Kaduna State, which has just increased the salaries of their workers to 72. The threshold is, the benchmark is 70. I think Kaduna says 72. They are dealing with debt issues as well. Set to launch 100 CNG-powered buses for civil servants. Kudos to them. Abdul Latif says, it is a good development. We hope that this does more and more developmental programs and all of that.
You know, Jeffrey, we should just make up our minds what we want to call addition. A 2,000 naira, call an increase in salary. A 2,000 naira addition is not necessarily an increase.
At least they added 2K. That extra 2K. I don't know what to say.
Okay, you can buy data for maybe 1 month. Mohammed Noor says, excellent initiative and highly commendable. However, are there designated bus stops, mapped routes, and modern ticketing systems? I would suggest a PPP model for operational efficiency, maintenance culture, and accountability.
This is where I will commend Lagos. You know, although we believe that Lagos can do more, because you can't compare Lagos with any other state. You literally have to compare Lagos with any other big city in the world. The IGR is big. Lagos is a mega city. But this is where I commend Lagos. At least we have the BRT. I don't know how many states you will travel to and see things like BRT across the road. It could be more and all of that. So I hope that they do this correctly. Where it says, for me, this is huge. To launch 100 CNG buses for Kaduna civil servants. Should it be for just civil servants? Should be for citizens, maybe civil servants first. Bukola, you have the last one, so we'll go to the last.
And Olaola is the last user who says, I don't think anyone needs to make subsidized transport that will be later abandoned and the buses will be out of buses in a few months from now. All they need to do is to create a good public mass transit system that is comfortable and affordable, properly maintained, and able to be improved upon, I believe.
Yeah, just the Lagos model is a good one. You can take from there and improve on it. Nigerian reps advocate ban on alcohol sales in motor parks. I think every rational person should support this. This Calypso link says, this proposal raises important questions about enforcement and effectiveness. How do we ensure compliance without infringing on personal freedom? It's a complex issue that needs careful consideration.
Well,
I don't understand what is freedom.
You're putting your life in the hands of a driver. So
no matter where you go in the world, you shouldn't drink and drive. Simple rule. You're endangering your own life and the lives of the people.
So it's not about personal liberty now. It's about the security of safety of lives. Greg is the next user, and Greg says if they can pass it, it will help to reduce accident rates. Drivers should undergo alcohol tests before getting a driver's license. This is also needed. And what happened to the breathalyzers, by the way? That was an instant test for alcohol use.
I've never seen anybody test anyone with that thing in Nigeria. I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it myself.
And we need to just go beyond the drivers and also law enforcement officials. I've been in a vehicle before. I was traveling from one state to the other, and I could clearly see that the law enforcement officer was drunk, because the way he was threatening us, pointing the gun that is going to kill everybody and nothing will happen, because we've heard that thing before. So if you haven't heard it, welcome to Nigeria. Anyway, it took his colleague to pull him out of the road to say, hey, what are you doing? The guy was clearly drunk. He would have shot all of us in that vehicle, and because he was drunk. So I think I support this. The last one, Scholar says I support it to reduce drunken driving and reduce accidents on the road. Hey, so those are the things you've been talking about on X social media. That's our social media of choice, where you ventilate your thoughts. Our job is to amplify it right here on the program. But we have a couple of conversations that are right here on the program. First, we'll head to Ondo State. There is a big, elections are coming. And by the way, Channels is organizing the debates between the PDP and the APC in that election. So look out for that at the weekend. It's going to be a big one. I call it a battle of former deputy governors. So it's going to be a big one. Stay with Channels. It's going to be a big conversation. So let's hear them out and what they have to do for Ondo people. But besides that, there's another nagging issue that has to do with the REC. Just like what happened in Edo State, where they're saying transfer the REC. Now that agitation has started. IPAC is saying leave the lady alone to do her job. But PDP seem to say, look, we don't trust this lady. We're having that conversation in the first leg, and then we'll get to the issue of eggs. How did egg move from a simple commodity that anybody can buy to luxury right now?
It's now missing in proteins.
Yep.
So we'll have that conversation as well. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Absolutely.